December is supposed to be the safest time of the year, filled with glowing trees, warm homes, and quiet neighborhoods blanketed under peaceful winter snow. But what happens when those same festive lights hide something moving silently just beyond the edge of your vision? Tonight on True Terror Files Official, we examine 3 chilling Christmas home invasion cases that no family ever expected to experience. Each story begins like a normal holiday evening, filled with decorations, music, and laughter, echoing through warm living rooms. Yet every one of these celebrations ended with the terrifying realization that someone else had already entered the house unnoticed. Were these criminals simply opportunistic intruders? Or did the chaos of the holiday season create the perfect cover for silent entry? Before we begin, ask yourself one question while watching tonight's investigation carefully and thoughtfully. Would you notice if someone entered your home right now while holiday music and flashing decorations filled every corner with distraction? Our first story takes place on a snowy Christmas Eve in a quiet Ohio suburb. The residents of that home were Daniel Carter, his wife Emily Carter, and their 8-year-old son Tyler. Their house stood glowing with colorful lights and an enormous decorated Christmas tree visible through the front window. Outside, a light snowfall covered the yard, while wind rattled the hanging bells attached to their front door wreath. Around 10:30 that evening, Daniel heard faint rhythmic thumps coming from the roof above the living room. Emily laughed and jokingly suggested their son might believe Santa had already arrived early this year. The sounds continued slowly, almost like careful movements rather than random falling snow sliding across shingles. A few minutes later, small flakes of black soot began drifting quietly into the fireplace below the chimney opening. Daniel assumed the chimney cap had loosened during the winter storm moving through the area that night. When he stepped closer to inspect the fireplace, he noticed something that instantly made him uneasy. A second soft thump echoed directly above the chimney shaft, followed by a faint scraping sound. Suddenly, a shadow shifted inside the dark fireplace opening where no light could fully reach. Daniel grabbed the fireplace poker and cautiously leaned closer toward the soot-covered bricks. At that exact moment, 2 gloved hands gripped the metal chimney frame from inside the darkness. A man had been climbing down the chimney silently while the family sat only feet away, opening presents. Daniel shouted for Emily to grab Tyler and move immediately toward the kitchen exit door. The intruder slipped halfway down the chimney before realizing the family had already seen him clearly. Startled by the sudden noise, the man retreated upward and disappeared back into the snowy darkness above the roof. Police later confirmed footprints in the snow leading toward a nearby wooded area behind the neighborhood. The Carter family would never again hear chimney noises during Christmas without remembering that terrifying moment. Our second story moved several states west to a quiet neighborhood outside Denver, Colorado. The homeowner was Olivia Bennett, a nurse working overnight hospital shifts during the holiday season. Olivia loved decorating her yard with enormous inflatable Christmas characters that glowed brightly every night. Her largest decoration was a 10-foot inflatable snowman standing beside the driveway near the front porch. What Olivia did not know was that someone had been quietly tampering with her outdoor decorations for days. The intruder had discovered that the base compartment of the inflatable snowman contained enough space to hide inside. For nearly 2 nights, the man hid within the decoration while observing Olivia's routine schedule. Each evening, Olivia heard faint jingling noises outside, but assumed wind was brushing the hanging ornaments. The subtle sounds were actually small metal tools moving carefully against the front door lock mechanism. One evening, Olivia returned home earlier than expected after her shift was shortened due to a staffing change. As she parked in the driveway, she noticed the snowman decorations swaying strangely despite calm weather conditions. At first, she thought the blower fan might be malfunctioning or losing power during the cold temperature drop. Suddenly, the base zipper of the inflatable opened slightly, and a figure stepped quietly into the dark yard. Olivia immediately reversed her car and drove straight toward the street while calling emergency services. Officers later searched the decoration and discovered blankets, food wrappers, and tools hidden inside the hollow base. The realization that someone had been watching her house from her own decorations left Olivia shaken for months. The festive display that once brought joy had unknowingly provided perfect cover for a patient intruder. Our third and final case occurred during a severe winter blizzard in northern Michigan. Marcus Reed and his sister Claire Reed were hosting a small Christmas gathering for close relatives. Heavy winds outside rattled windows while holiday music played loudly through the living room speakers. Around midnight, most guests had already left due to worsening road conditions and falling temperatures. Marcus locked the front door carefully and returned to the living room, where Claire wrapped last-minute gifts. About 30 minutes later, Claire paused and listened carefully toward the hallway near the entrance. She thought she heard the sound of wrapping paper being slowly torn open. Marcus assumed one of their cousins had forgotten something and quietly returned to retrieve it. When Marcus walked into the living room, he froze instantly at what he saw near the Christmas tree. A stranger was sitting calmly on the floor, surrounded by opened gift boxes and family photographs. What? The man looked up slowly and smiled as though he had simply arrived for a late holiday visit. Marcus immediately stepped backward while motioning silently for Claire to move toward the back exit door. The stranger stood up slowly and began walking toward them without saying a single word. Claire grabbed her coat while Marcus unlocked the rear door leading into the snow-covered backyard. They ran into the blizzard and reached a neighbor's house nearly 200 feet away through deep snow. Police arrived shortly afterward and searched the Reed home for signs of forced entry. Investigators discovered the back window lock had been carefully removed hours before the gathering began. The intruder had entered quietly and waited inside while the family celebrated only rooms away. Holiday music and conversation had masked every sound he made while moving through the house. Officers eventually apprehended the suspect several blocks away, attempting to leave the neighborhood during the storm. For Marcus and Claire, Christmas decorations would never again represent simple warmth and comfort. These 3 stories reveal a disturbing pattern often overlooked during festive seasons. Decorations, music, and bright lights can unintentionally distract homeowners from subtle warning signs around them. Loud holiday gatherings also create perfect noise cover for anyone attempting forced entry nearby. Even large outdoor decorations may conceal hiding places that would normally seem impossible during other seasons. Security experts now warn that seasonal decorations should never block cameras, windows, or entryways. Smart home systems should also be checked regularly during holidays when routines become unpredictable. Intruders often rely on distraction rather than force when targeting homes filled with activity. Something as simple as a blinking light display can make motion near windows difficult to notice. The same festive glow meant to create joy may cast shadows deep enough to hide movement. That contrast between warmth and darkness is what investigators repeatedly notice in these unusual cases. So the question remains important for every viewer watching tonight's episode carefully. If someone approached your house right now while holiday music played and decorations flashed brightly, would you notice? Or would the celebration inside mask the quiet turning of a handle somewhere in the darkness? These stories remind us that awareness matters even during the most joyful seasons of the year. The safest homes are not always the ones with the brightest lights. Often they are the homes where residents remain observant even when surrounded by comfort and celebration. As always, True Terror Files Official shares these cases to encourage awareness rather than fear. Real events often reveal how small details can make the difference between safety and danger. If this investigation made you think differently about holiday security, share your thoughts in the comments below. We read many of your experiences, and they often inspire future investigations on this channel. Some viewers have even shared chilling encounters that became full episodes here on True Terror Files Official. If you enjoy carefully researched storytelling that blends real cases with atmospheric narration, consider subscribing today. Your support helps this channel continue uncovering stories that most people never hear about. And if you are watching during the holiday season, take a moment tonight to double-check your locks and windows. Turn down the music briefly and listen carefully to the quiet outside your home, because sometimes the smallest unusual sound may be the most important one to notice, especially during the season when everyone expects warmth, safety, and familiar faces at the door. Thank you for watching another investigation here on True Terror Files Official. Stay aware, stay curious, and keep questioning the stories hidden within ordinary moments. Because the truth behind many unexplained events often hides in plain sight. Sometimes the most unsettling stories begin during the most joyful nights of the year. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, subscribe and join our growing community of investigative horror fans. More real cases, chilling mysteries, and unexplained encounters are coming very soon to this channel. Until next time, keep the lights on, and remember that shadows grow longer when the world feels safest.